What do you think of how Kevin James merged his campaign with the Garcetti campaign?
Well, having been part of Kevin James' campaign myself, I was very impressed, actually quite pleased, that Kevin repeatedly across the media gave what were the most credible and actually complimentary endorsements in many venues, in many ways, throughout the last couple of months. It was leaning toward Eric Garcetti, and clearly just recognized in Eric Garcetti a lot of what Kevin James, brought to the city, what he brings to politics. And though they're from very different political camps and backgrounds, still the salvation indeed of this city, on the verge of bankruptcy, suffering from everything that Kevin James said is wrong with the city. I think that Eric Garcetti is probably the only person who can realistically start to reverse what's going on in this city, and in the most positive of ways. Particularly, he's going to be dealing with so many of the problems that have been created by organized labor. And I, having a background in organized labor myself, can really see the sort of the antecedents and the effects of this labor dominance of the city of Los Angeles, and so that'll be one of Mr. Garcetti's greatest challenges. But I think he's eminently equipped and to really deal with it, and I think he'll do it as a statesman, very intelligent man, and I think he'll be able to deal with this entire city with an eye on the horizon. Eric Garcetti has a very positive perspective and view of the world and of this city, and I think it's in good hands.
What's your background with labor?
I was a director of an AFL-CIO labor union for 4.5 years here. Excuse me? No, it was, I represented professional employees, engineers, architects, and such in the county of Los Angeles.
How isn't Mr. Garcetti indebted to the unions that helped him with his campaign?
Well, it depends on how he perceives his indebtedness and how those unions want to collect on their debt. Many unions, there's a whole spectrum of unions that deal with politicians in different ways. Those which own politicians are the most heavy-handed. I don't think Mr. Garcetti is owned by anybody, any time in the past, certainly no time in the future. So I think he can deal diplomatically and realistically with organized labor, with city employees, city employee unions. I think he's in a great position politically and intellectually to be able to deal with them. The public knows, that a lot of the problems in the city of Los Angeles are exacerbated by, or certainly unions. Mr. Garcetti ought to turn to the union and say, look, we've got a lot of problems to solve here. I would like to bring you in to the solution rather than just butt heads with him.